I hope the footage picked it up, but both of these are breaking. So welcome back to the sawmill, friends. But I guess today we should say welcome back to the farm, because we're gonna be baling some hay. Let me show you what we got going on. So we got the baler hooked up to the 754. I still need to connect the PTO shaft and also the electrical components. We'll do that here in just a minute. And if you're new to this channel, I showed this in a previous video. This is my brand new baler. It's a New Holland roll belt 450 Utility Plus. And also, friends, not sponsored by New Holland. Paid cash for this a week ago, paid full price. New Holland has no idea who I am, and that's the way I like it. Now, the first thing we need to do this baler to get it ready is add a counter to it. It's kind of like mileage on a car. It counts how many bales go through your machine. So, if you ever sell it or for maintenance issues, you can always look at that counter and know how many bales have went through it. This one didn't come with it though for some reason. It's an added option. So me and the wife went last week to my local New Holland dealer over in Jonesboro and picked one up. It was about 40 bucks. Let's get that installed, and then we'll move on to the electrical and the PTO shaft. And I think that's about it. And if you guys are hearing a lot of background noise, my neighbor way over there in that barn is cleaning out his stalls today with the skid steer. And he's not done that in a while. There's a lot of manure coming out of that barn, my goodness. I may see if I can get some of that from you. That'd be good to spread on my hay fields. But in order to do that, I need a manure spreader. I may have to find one of those soon. Okay, so back here at the baler, this is our counter. It's a mechanical one. It's pretty simple. It's got 4 holes right there to bolt it to the machine. And also this little arm will have a chain hook to it, which will hook to the inside of this. And every time it gets full, it pulls that down and counts a bale. Pretty simple, shouldn't take but a few minutes. Sorry about the bad lighting here on the camera, but today I'm a shade tree mechanic. I need to open up this panel so we can get this one open up so we can put this on. You can't take off these side panels unless you raise this one up first. All right, guys, I had to lift up this cover to do this other part of the install. So right there is the bale counter. Right there's that arm hanging loose. This is a chain. It hooks to that arm, and the other end goes to right there. And this moves as the bale gets made, so I'm assuming as this goes down, it kind of hangs there, but when the bale kicks out, it shoots back up, and that's what pulls that counter to count, you know, how many bales go through it. At least I'm assuming that's how this works. After we make our first bale, we may have to adjust this chain just a little to make sure it does count it, but it should work like that. Keyword is should. All right, so this should be fairly simple. One end goes there, the other end goes right there, I think that's how that works. So I think I got this done. That chain's hanging down, it's hooked right there. And I'm assuming as the bale is made, that spring will go upward, which will pull this to the up position. Then when it comes back down, it counts a bale. I'm assuming that's what goes on here. Like I said, I am not 100% sure on that. But I will say this, I looked at these instructions about 20 times this morning, and this is the way this bale counter is mounted to this machine. There's no other way it can go on here. And when you do it like that, it's upside down. Look at the numbers, they're upside down. That makes no sense to me. Is that right? For you new Holland guys out there with balers, are the numbers upside down on your counter? Because watch it count. It counts right here. When it clicks up, it'll count to 1, and it's upside down. I don't know. We'll see if this works today or not. I don't have a lot of faith in this. All right, guys, I figured out what's wrong with this bale counter. I just called another dealer and get their take on it, and I gave them the part number, and it looks like the one that was sold to me at the other dealer, that's kind of confusing, isn't it, was the wrong one. So that's my problem. I had the wrong bale counter for the wrong machine. That's why it's upside down. And it's also supposed to have some kind of little spring on the end of it that keeps tension on that arm, and that spring's not in the box either. So I may try to work with this one, see if I can fabricate something to make it work. But until then, when we get done today baling, I'll just count how many bales I have and come back here and manually push the button. It's better than nothing. At least I know how many's ran through this machine, but I wish I had the right one. That thing was about $50. You think they would have got it right. That's the way it goes. So the baler is almost ready. The only thing I have left to do is hook up the PTO shaft and the electrical. I forgot about that. I gotta run 2 wires to the battery, but that shouldn't take too long. Famous last words, it may take me the rest of the day the way things are going right now. That little bale counter, that kind of put me behind just a little. But before we do that to the baler, I think I better get out here and make my windrows so my hay can dry out just a little bit more. So we'll get the 5835, hook up my new to me rake. You guys haven't seen this thing yet. It looks pretty rough, but I think it'll work good. And we'll start raking some hay. You guys hang in there. So it's looking pretty good down here. It's not too dry. I think the moisture is just right on this. Key word is, I think, I don't have a moisture meter for hay, but I'll probably buy one sooner than later. I tell you what, guys, it's pretty hot out here. My phone says it's 89. It's almost September as well. That's pretty hot for this time of year. So I stopped for a quick water break, and I thought I'd show you guys the new hay rake. Of course, it's not brand new, but it's new to me. This is a New Holland row bar rake. It's a 256. I've used one of these in the past. They work really good. They may look bad, but man, they can do a good job at raking some hay. I think I got maybe 1 or 2 tines that are broke. I just bought this the other day from a guy down the road. and I need to do an inspection on these tines, although so far it's doing pretty good. It's doing what it's supposed to do, which is rake hay in the windrows. This is a nice rake. I picked it up pretty cheap actually. I think a new one is around $4,000, and this one is probably 20 years old, maybe older. The guy I bought it from said it used to belong to his dad. So it's a one owner. There's been no welds on it. That's what you gotta look for on these old rakes. People will break them, and I couldn't find a weld anywhere. It just looks kind of rough. In the off season, I think I'll strip this down and paint it, and maybe put some new tines on it and stuff like that, and be good as new. And he also put some brand new tires on it before he sold it to me. Right there is $200, every bit of it. And if you're curious what I paid for it, let me tell you. I paid $800. That wasn't too bad. I found it on Facebook Marketplace, even though it was just about 2 miles down the road from me. Now that was a good deal, because a lot of these on Marketplace and Craigslist are going for $1,500 and up, and some of them look pretty darn bad. This one has new tires on it. Not a bad deal. So this is what we got done so far, and I haven't done much. Way down there on the other side of the barn, that field right there is done, on the other side of that maple tree. And I also went ahead and raked up all the hay behind the log cabin over there on that side of the creek. Now we're going to turn our attention to this main field right here, which is about 8 acres. I think I'll cut it in half right through the middle, do this right side. That way we'll have windrows on this side of the field and those down there. And I think we'll go ahead at that point and bale it up. So real fast, guys, this hay rake is ground driven. There's no PTO going to it. So when the wheels turn, it has a gearbox right there that will engage these tines. But in order to make it work, that way it doesn't spin all the time, you come over here, and you pull that back. That's all there is to it. Pretty simple. And they still made these today. $800 on Facebook. Man, that was a good deal. So we just finished up half this field over here, guys. Why do I always say we? Who is this we? It's just me doing it today. People say that all the time on YouTube. We just got that done. It's usually one person doing it. So anyways, I just finished half that field, and that was not a good crop, friends. But like I said in a previous video, we had a drought in July and into August, and it's not rained here for about 2 weeks. And before that, it was probably 5 weeks. So it's been pretty dry here recently, and this is not a good crop for hay. All the surrounding farms are in about the same shape that we're in. So we thought we'd just go ahead and cut it and get it over with and count our losses. And hopefully next season will be a lot better. So I got the baler hooked up. I got the PTO going. I got the trailer lights hooked up. Now I need to run a cord from the baler to the cab of the tractor and hook into this little controller that I got. And that's why I took off that little grommet right there on the back window. And this may help some of you guys out. I was cleaning that back window because it was pretty nasty. And what did I use? AMSOIL glass cleaner. Not sponsored by AMSOIL, but I buy this stuff by the case, and it's the best glass cleaner I have ever used. Man, it works good. Go grab you some. And don't tell them I sent you, because this isn't sponsored. Won't do me no good. Good stuff right there. Just trying to help you guys out that may be into farm work and need something good to clean off some glass. Well, there's Mama Cat. Mama, how do you think the new baler is going to work today? Meow once for good, twice for bad. What's it going to be? Well, that's a shocker. She's ignoring us. Hatefulest cat on YouTube right there. Undisputed champion. All right, guys, so real quick, right here is the controller. I'm gonna have this one set on automatic, so I won't use this for anything, but I will listen for it right there, because that tells you what's going on. And in tomorrow's video, or if today's video bleeds over into tomorrow, I'll go over all these controls right here. So it's hooked up right there. One end's going to the battery, and the other end's going back there, hooking up to the baler. All right, so we got the PTO hooked up, got our safety chain. I got a fire extinguisher inside the tractor in case something goes bad. That's hooked to the trailer in wires right there, or the trailer wire harness. That's so the lights work on the baler in case you want to take it down the road. And right here, I have a rear remote hooked up to a hydraulic line going to the baler. That opens up the back of it so the bale can fall out. That's something you do manually. And here's where the connection is made from the baler to the controller in the cab. Probably in the off season, I'll come back here and find somewhere to mount this. But for right now, I'll probably throw a tire wrap on it. And since I'm going to be going pretty slow today, that should be just fine. So before we head down to the field, let's check a few things. We'll power the tractor on. We'll run the PTO to make sure everything looks okay. And I'll send some hydraulic fluid through the rear remote to the back and make sure the lid opens up, or the tailgate rather. I'm not sure what you call that on the baler. The rear lid maybe, I don't know. You experience hay, guys, let me know down in the comments. I'm not sure what you call it, but that's where the bale falls out. So let's make sure it works okay, then we'll head to the field and try to make a bale. All right, guys, it's the next day, and I got a pretty late start this morning. I had to drive across town and look at some logs, some really nice red oak. They should be here tomorrow, as long as it don't rain in the morning, but it's supposed to rain, so we'll see what happens on that. But I got started on this hay about 2 hours ago, and let me show you what we got done. So this is the field right in front of my house. I got maybe 2 windrows right here. It was not too thick. It was pretty thick actually on that side, but over here it got really thin. And I tried to take my windrows and move them way over here so it lays a little bit better. I didn't want to run the baler down the hill over there. There's too many little potholes and stuff. I was afraid I might flip it. But we got 1 windrow over here and 1 more down there. Not the best hay in the world, but it will make a bale or part of a bale, so it's worth getting. It's just not too great. So to give you guys an idea of how good we did back in June on the first cutting, this little front field produced 3 round bales. It won't even do half of one today, probably about a 4th if I'm lucky. So last night we got some bales out. I showed you guys one of them, then my GoPro overheated, so I went ahead and kept on working off camera. I got a few bales down there in the lower field. I got 1 more windrow right there beside the log cabin. And I also have 2 windrows way over there. You can't really see the house. My mother-in-law lives in my little double wide that I own over there, and I got a front field that's about 2 acres. I got about 2 windrows over there. It's not too thick either, but it was worth cutting. So my plan right now is to head over here to the largest field. It's about 8 acres. I got half of it done yesterday. We'll rake up the other half, and then we'll go ahead and bale that part. Bale in front of the house, in front of the red barn, down there by the tree. And then we'll head up to the cemetery area. That doesn't sound right, does it? Cemetery area. Then we'll cross the creek and go up there on top of the hill close to the cemetery. That sounds a lot better. And we'll rake up what we got up there. That's about 4 acres up there, but only 2 of it was cut for hay. The rest of it's kind of like a hillside, so we'll get a little bit up there, but not too much. Now here in a few days, my dealer's supposed to come out. He's gonna pick up his tractor and take it in for its 50-hour service. He was gonna come last week, but I told him to hold off for 1 more week so I could get the hay up. I would hate to do hay with only 1 tractor. It's really nice having 2 as far as switching out attachments go. And one thing I'm going to ask him is if he can find me a canopy for this tractor whenever it goes in for service. I think it needs one. What do you guys think? These ball caps keep the sun off your face, but not your ears. And I had my Amish hat on yesterday, and it blew off in the field out here, and I can't find it. I have no idea what happened to it. If anybody sees an Amish hat, like a straw hat in Northeast Tennessee, floating around somewhere, send me an email, because it's probably mine. All right, guys, got our windrows done. Actually, looks pretty good out here. A little bit thicker than I thought it would get. Not too bad, and man, that stuff is dry right there. I probably should have baled this yesterday. It made kind of crack on me just a little bit today when it's going through the baler, but that's the way it is. Got our rows lined up. Got several windrows out here. I think I got about 7 of them. Should get a decent amount of hay out of these. Good deal. And that hay rake right there, $800 on Facebook Marketplace. Man, what a deal. So there's an old saying, I think it goes like this, but I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, it's the first time this year. You got to make hay when the sun's shining. I think that's how that goes. And I tell you what, there's a lot of truth to that, because we got some rain coming in tomorrow, and I'm trying to get this done before it rains. And making hay by yourself is a lot harder than when you have somebody helping you. First cutting back in June, my buddy Mike was here. We done this in no time. When it's all on me, it's a different story. But before we get started here, friends, let me show you 2 things. The first thing is how that stream broke last night. I think I figured it out. And number 2 is what size of a bale does this machine make? Man, it's a hot one out here today. It's about 90 degrees right now. So this baler uses twine. Now there's a lot of balers that use a net wrap. I'll see if I can find a picture right here for you guys that are not familiar with that. But mine uses twine. That's what I prefer, although I've never ran a net wrap baler before. But I like this twine. It seems like it's less trouble. The guys down the road, a few of them run the ones with twine, and it's kind of like Fords and Chevys. And some people won't buy your hay unless it has twine on it because they don't like getting the netting off for their cows to eat it. It's personal preference, I guess. At the end of the day, it probably doesn't matter a whole lot. Although, the ones with the net wrap are more expensive. So yesterday, or last night rather, when I was making my bale, this has an electric tire on it. So what I mean by that is I push a button when the bale is full and the twine comes out down these spools right here. It's got a fancy arm right here at the bottom and it wraps the bale, then it cuts it when it's done. Now what happened was, this right here is a brand new spool of twine, and this one got caught right here in the middle. For some reason it was just a little too tight right there from the factory, and it took me a few minutes to get it to pull out. So what happened was, I think, when it called for the twine to be used, this came out until it got jammed and it stopped, causing it to break down there. That's what I think happened, but there could be a little sharp edge in there that I can't see. This thing is brand new. It might need some adjusting. I don't know. When we tie our first bale here in just a few minutes, hopefully that fits the problem. If it breaks again, that means I have a problem somewhere in here, and it's probably a sharp edge that I can't see without getting underneath there and really digging around. All right, close this lid. Hard to do with one hand. It's got some tension on it there. Hold your ears. And also on the counter here, I left it installed. I got two on there, even though it is upside down. My new one shipped today. I should have it in a few days, hopefully. So I can't believe they sold me the wrong one. All right, guys, this baler will make a 4x5 bale. What that means is the bale is 4 feet wide and 5 foot tall. But for the first 30 bales, you're supposed to set this for a 4x4 bale. That way the belts have time to stretch. I don't have any understanding about that. This is my first baler, and I can't really give you guys a good explanation on why that is, but I guess it's new belts. They don't want you stretching them too fast, and they want you to take your time on getting them stretched out, I'm assuming, and that sounds right to me. That sounds pretty good, don't it? It sounds like I know what I'm talking about here, don't it? So what you have to do is come right here on this gauge and set it so when the bale shows full on this gauge right here, it will beep in the cab and I'll push a button to wrap it. Now I've been playing with this just a little bit. I did a bale last night that was actually 40 inches tall, so I had to increase this just a little. So the first bale that we pop out here in a few minutes, we'll take a measurement and hopefully it's 4x5. If not, I'll have to plate this just a little bit more. And all you gotta do is open this lid. There's a wing nut right here and you can adjust it up and down. It's pretty simple. This whole baler here is actually pretty simple to operate and run, because it's brand new. If this was an older used one, I'd probably be out here pulling my beard hair out because I couldn't get it to run. That's why I bought a used one. I didn't want to fool with them. I just wanted something that would work. And another feature right here, there's an arrow right there, and when it starts wrapping the bale, this goes up. When it gets to here, I'm sorry, I told you guys wrong. So this right here, this arrow goes all the way to the top and it starts wrapping the bale. And as it comes down, it stops right here on that scissor, and that means it's time to cut the string. Now this one does it automatically, but it does have a manual mode, so when it gets to right here, if you're in manual mode, you can look back here and see that and know it's time to cut the string. So that's good information right there. Plus you can look back here and see what's going on in automatic mode and make sure everything's working right. All right, guys, this is the real world for you. I was sitting here earlier bragging about buying a new baler and having no problems. Looks like we got a problem. That twine is still breaking. Both of them are breaking. I hope the footage picked it up, but both of these are breaking. I'm not sure what's going on. I spent the past 45 minutes checking the routing, checking for any sharp surfaces and stuff like that. And I can't find any reason at all why this is breaking. I don't know what's going on with this, guys. I guess I better back up and punt and go to the house and read my manual tonight. And I'll be calling the dealer tomorrow to talk to the mechanic that trained me on this and see if he can walk me through some troubleshooting on why this is happening. I'm not sure what's going on with it. It broke last night, but the other one would work. And today, neither one of them will work. They both break when it starts making the bale. It wraps about 1/4 of the bale, then it breaks every time. I've done it 3 times since I've cut the cameras off because I tried to reroute it a few times. It does it every time. I'm sure it's a simple fix and it's something I'm doing wrong, more than likely, but I can't figure it out. There's only one place for that twine to go through this machine, and I've got it routed where it's supposed to go. Maybe it's this cheap twine. I don't know. This twine they put in this machine is probably not the best twine there is to put in a baler. Maybe that's the first thing I'll do in the morning is go up to the co-op and get some really high quality baling twine. But I don't know if that's a problem or not. So anyways, guys, I do have good news. I just checked the weather, and tomorrow it's not supposed to rain. They changed the forecast, which is great for me because this hay is not going to get put up tonight. So at least in the morning we can back up and punt, tear this down, read my manual tonight, call New Holland and see if we can figure out what's going on with this brand new baler that won't work. So in closing, friends, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And I may or may not see you back here tomorrow. See how this goes. See you soon, guys.